Hello and welcome to English with Jimmy. And today's subject is about titles. Um, Knowing the etiquette and the protocol when one meets members of the royal family or the aristocracy is important, guys. So you know how to talk to them and how to behave. Um, when men meet a king or a queen, they should bow their heads. You just bow your head as a mark of respect, and the ladies should courtesy, okay, by bending the knee. You address a king or a queen as Your Majesty, okay, and after that, when you're talking to them, you can say yes, sir, or yes, mom, okay. When the conversation ends and the king or the queen gives you his hand, shake hand or something like that, just shake hand and don't turn your back and walk away. No, step backwards 3 steps and then turn left or right and leave the room or the court or wherever you're speaking to them. You address, as I said, we address a king or a queen by saying Your Majesty. You address a prince or a princess by calling them Your Royal Highness. You address a president or a head of state as Your Excellency. And you can use that with heads of governments and governors, ambassadors, Catholic bishops, okay, heads of international organization. You can still call them all Your Excellency. You address a duke or a duchess as Your Grace. You address a marquess or a marchioness as Your Lordship or Your Ladyship. Also, you address an earl with Your Lordship, and also a count or a countess with Lordship, Ladyship. You address a viscount or a viscountess as Your Lordship and Ladyship, Your Ladyship. You address a baron or a baroness also as Your Lordship or Your Ladyship. You address an emir, okay, as Your Royal Highness. If you are addressing a peer, an heir of a peer, as sir and master, okay, you can say your master. If you address a peer, heiress, a female heiress, as madam or mistress, okay. We pronounce it heir, guys. It's not H, okay, heir. You address judge as Your worship or Your lordship or Your honor, was for the judge. The prime minister, you address him as prime minister, and the chancellor, you address him as chancellor of the exchequer. We address him as chancellor. He's responsible for the finance, obviously, in the United Kingdom. You address an archbishop as Your Grace, and a deacon as Your Reverend. You address a cardinal as Your Eminent. And the members of parliament, you address them as the Right Honourable. And you address a minister as minister, and a professor, you address him as professor, a doctor as a doctor. The Pope, you address him as Your Holiness. Yes, and you address a bishop as my Lord. You address a dean as Mr. Dean. You address a stranger as mom or sir. And you address a commoner, a common person, as Mr. or Mrs. or Miss. As you can see, guys, knowing the titles is also important. I don't know how many of you will probably in the lifetime meet some members of the aristocracy and might be invited for an investiture to receive an honor from Her Majesty the Queen or the King, or could be an OBE, MBE, or CBE, or a knighthood, okay? There they are. OBE, Order of the British Empire. MBE, Member of the British Empire. CBE, Commander of the Most Excellent of the British Empire, and a knighthood. Normally, people who receive these honors attend an investiture at Buckingham Palace. Normally, a member of the royal family will be available to give you the honor, okay? And there is some protocol and etiquette that you should learn before meeting them. They will explain that to you at the palace, at Buckingham Palace. These honors are normally given to people who excel in any aspects of life, like an artist, a footballer, a musician, a scientist, a chemist, a physician. If you excel in any field in life, you're likely to receive such great honor from a member of the royal family, if not the queen herself. So if you are, in, let's say, I don't know how often you meet king or queens or members of the aristocracy, but if you happen to meet some of them or get introduced to some of them, even by chance, at least you know how to call them. And also, if you're writing about them an essay or a subject, or you're sending a letter or commenting about them to the media or the newspapers and so on, you know what to call them and how to describe them. That's it. That's it about the titles, guys. Okay. I thank you.